GamerCast Network.
Hey. All right. It's a video game show. It's a video game show. It's not a game show about videos. It's a video game show.
Welcome to the GamerCast Network video game show for Sunday, January 11th, 2009. This is episode 124. I'm Chad, and this week, for the roll call, a question from Chris in the UK. What is the goriest moment you've encountered in a game, or the moment that made you stare in wonderment at the blood and guts that were flying on the screen? And joining us this evening is Keith.
I would have to go with Ninja Gaiden 2. You can run the walls in that, and I ran the wall and I cut a guy's head off and then jumped on the stairs. And then I just stopped for a second because I was grabbing something off the table and I just heard plink, 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 and the head just kept rolling down the stairs and like past me. And I turned around and there was just like a little blood trail of where the head bounced down the stairs. And I stopped for a second and said, yeah, that was pretty sweet.
And also joining us is Phil.
Actually, this I just experienced yesterday. I was playing the campaign mode of Gears of War 2. There's a cutscene about the middle of the campaign where Coltrane comes running in and he starts chainsawing a guy, and then he tags one guy with a grenade, and then he shoots another guy right in the eye and his head explodes.
Then
and
he's
then
like, now that's Smurfy.
well, even better, the
Smurfy?
grenade explodes, so then the whole torso goes like splattering all over the place, and then just the legs and the waist is just standing there, and then it falls over eventually. It's pretty sweet.
And also joining us is Bob.
During the 10 minutes I actually got to play Left 4 Dead, when I earned my Spinal Tap badge, because I didn't know you could one-shot the zombies by hitting him in the head, and I just like snuck up behind this one lone dude standing by his lonesome in the corner, and I jacked him in the back of the head with the shotgun. His head just exploded, and like blood and gore just like poured out everywhere. Rather than, the rest of the game where you're just panicking half the time, you really got to stand there and appreciate it and watch all the goodness just like spill forth from the back of his head. It was very visceral, very tangible, because it was melee. You were right up next to him, and
it was cool because at that same moment you like reached for the pretzels, but you forgot you had a bowl of Jell-O sitting there. It was very tangible because you stuck your hand in a bowl of Jell-O.
Forgot I had a bowl of brains sitting next to me, and was like, oh, that's not the pretzels, that's the brains, that's for later.
And also joining us is Ivan.
Actually, it was Gears 2. There's a whole level where you have to kill the big, huge, giant worm that's crawling underneath the city. So you're inside this worm. At the very end, when you finally kill the worm, the only way out is to cut through the side of the worm with your chainsaw gun. It's a cut scene. You don't actually do it.
Ba-dum-bum-bum-bum.
Yeah.
It's a cut scene.
So you're cutting through the side of this worm, and you finally get through, and all the guys just fall out, and they're all just completely drenched. They're bright red, colored in blood from head to toe.
Ew.
With worm entrails. It's awesome.
And finally joining us is Tom.
It's been 15 years ago now, on a 640 by 480 resolution on a 15-inch CRT, but I just remember how intense I thought the gore on the original Doom was, and it just left a lasting impression to see some of the hell levels with bodies on a spike and upside-down crucifixion. And even though now it's so dated, I don't think anything has ever really wowed me like that since then.
Actually, I'll have to go with an older one, too, just because this is the first one I ever saw, and I stuck in my head was when, at the end of Bionic Commando for the Nintendo, when there's the exploding, melting Hitler face.
Yeah. It's still one of the best names for a main character ever in a game.
Melting Hitler face?
No, Super Joe. Super Joe. Yeah. Although Melting Hitler Face would have been a good name, too. I'm Melting Hitler Face. How you doing?
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Hey, how's it going? They call me Melting Hitler Face. MHF for short.
Gamer Tag Radio.
Don't miss Gamer Tag Radio's 4th year anniversary. Community Vibes 4.
Gamer Tag Radio.
This is a free event from 3 p.m. to 10 p.m. Performing live, May Day, and more. Win an Xbox 360 Elite, games, and and even Zooms every hour. Special guest DJ Avery from the Miami Heat, SFX 360, Destructoid, talking about games, Sarcastic Gamer, Xcast, Gaming Angels, Gamers Garage, the 10K Club, Blue Skittle, and more. Tournaments provided by SFX 360 and Game Wars. Don't miss Destructoid Classic Gaming with Dreamcast, Super Nintendo, also a Smash Brothers Wii tournament. All this and more at Gamertag Radio's 4th year anniversary, Community Vibes 4. Don't miss it, February 21st, 2009. Location Club Echo 168 Southeast 1st Street, Unit 1A in Miami, Florida. For more information, check out GamerTagRadio.com. Don't miss the gaming event of the year.
Next topic.
So Keith and Ivan here have both played the demo for the upcoming Xbox 360 game Lord of the Rings Conquest. This is the game by the guys who made Star Wars Battlefront, and now this is their Lord of the Rings version of the whole thing. So what is the demo like? What does it play like? What do you think?
They did a good job with the demo. Usually when you play a demo, you get to play like one guy. And when I started it up and I could only pick the warrior, I thought, oh, this is going to be one of those games. But the demo does a good job because you start off with the warrior and then it says, do these couple objectives. And then after you finish those, it says, okay, we need an archer for this section. So switch to an archer. You actually get to play, I think, most of, if not all of the different classes in the game.
Don't you get to be one hero?
You have your choice between, I think, maybe two of the heroes, because you have to kill Saruman, whichever is the not big eye.
No, actually, you do kill the guy that's the big eye.
You actually killed him in the demo?
Yeah, it does the whole like intro battle. Man and elves were fighting against Sauron and the Horde.
Okay, it's showing the battle in the past.
Yeah, and you get to be Isildur. I don't. All the names sound the same, so I don't even know who the hell it is. But the guy that was swinging the sword around after it broke, you're that guy.
And does it play just like a Battlefront kind of thing, like a huge battlefield, or is it like a Dynasty Warriors, or?
It plays like the Battlefront kind of game. I did play multiplayer a little bit. If any of you have read Penny Arcade, I agree with their frustration 1,010%, where you can jump off of a cliff that is, thousands of feet, you're falling. I mean, it doesn't really matter how far you fall. But if you touch a trickling creek, you're dead. And that is extremely annoying. The scouts, the guys that can cloak themselves and hide and then one-shot everybody, is so ridiculously annoying because everybody's just a scout running around and they're all hidden and just stabbing everyone in the back. I thought Battlefront was more fun. To me, it felt like a weak port, in my opinion. And I even like, Lord of the Rings and medieval stuff better. It's all right. I'll eventually get it when it's cheaper. I wouldn't pay full price for it.
Okay, that's fair. And Ivan?
The biggest problem I had was my favorite kind of class typically is an archer, and the archer controls were kind of screwy because you have 3 or 4, maybe 5 different kinds of attacks. You have your regular attack and then a fire attack, poison attack, and you hold down different buttons while you pull the right trigger to shoot. But if you're holding down, say, the Y button to shoot a poison arrow, you got your thumb on the Y button and your right index finger's using the trigger, and the right analog stick moves your kind of view up and down, left and right to aim. You need an extra finger in there to be able to move left and right, back and forth while holding a button down and shooting. It's not like you can just toggle between regular arrows and poison arrows and then shoot the trigger and then move around.
There's a really, really easy solution to that. Don't be a ass archer. Be a man and get a sword.
Next topic.
We know the guys, Iron Lore, they were the makers of Titan Quest. And actually, that was the only game they really made. The other thing they worked on was they did some work on the Dawn of War expansions. Iron Lore ran out of money in February or March of last year, and they closed down.
Their electricity bills were too high because they were playing... I forgot the name of the game.
Oh, doesn't it suck when you lose the joke halfway through?
At the time, they were in development of a couple of different projects, and one of them apparently was a game for the 360. It's going to be an action role-playing game, and it's called Black Legion. Now, Iron Lore shut down, so the guys who were developing it started their own company called Crate Entertainment and continued work on it. They haven't said much about the game, other than it's made by the Titan Quest guys. They're trying to evolve the action role-playing game to the next level for the mainstream console audience.
I'm not going to lie, that statement right there makes me slightly nervous. They're going to break it and make it bad.
I don't know. The thing is, it's an action RPG. By and large, it's click and point to begin with. So how much more can you dumb it down for a council audience? I don't think it's
Well,
possible.
you're probably going to be a child hero now. You're going to have like a little snarf sidekick.
Well, no, when I assume that when you say that you want to bring it to a wider audience, you're simplifying the core gameplay, right? You're taking what you assume are complex elements and then removing those.
Right. And what was the complex elements of Titan Quest? The build of your
None.
character. It means they're
That's-
going, no, I disagree. Because if you weren't paying attention when you spent your points, you could end up with a completely gimped character.
Oh, that's true. But that's the awesome part of action RPGs is you're able to customize your character. And
Which
you
is
can
what they're going
screw it
to
up.
break when they make it accessible, because that's too complicated for normal
Okay,
people.
so I'm against that.
Make
'Cause
it
I was
like-
about to offer to publish it. I was like, well, I'll put my money up and publish it, but now...
They'll make it more like Ultimate Alliance, which was a good game, but the leveling, you have 15 different abilities and you unlock every one of them, and then it's just a matter of which one do you like the best to put points in. So
Yeah, eventually you'll have them all, and I'll reserve my judgment, but I gotta say that statement you made of widening the audience really makes me nervous.
Yeah, look how quickly you turned on them. If they're listening to the show, we were so enthusiastic until you said something that completely asinine. Learn from that.
Okay, quick question. I haven't played that much Too Human. How is that as an action role-playing game, and how is the leveling system in there?
Did not care for it.
Not enough action. It's missing the action part of the role-playing game.
You're right, because action RPGs should have hordes and hordes of stuff, and Too Human didn't have that. And of course, it also had the screwy camera.
best thing it did right was the other great thing about action RPGs, half of it is kind of leveling your character and customizing it. The other half is making it replayable with the item drops and, just grinding away at different mobs and stuff to get the cool drops. So at least Too Human did that right. They had the epic drops.
And I don't know if there was any more to this, but there was always those rumors that Diablo 3 might show up on consoles. Just putting it out there.
Will it come out as the same game? Or I should say, will they attempt to do what Command & Conquer Red Alert did, which is to have the same gameplay on PC and console? So what you end up happening is an experience that doesn't feel quite right on either one.
They'll design it for the PC and it will play great on the PC. If anything, it'll be gimped on the console. I don't see Blizzard doing it in the first place. I don't think they've ever made a console game since Lost Vikings or something. I mean, they didn't even do the Diablo for the PlayStation. Somebody else ported that for them.
They probably have enough money where they could afford to do an internal port and just play it for a while and just be like, whether or not it sucks. They could easily get rid of a project.
Jettison. With a T. Jennison is actually the CEO of Interpret.
Next topic.
So, Keith, you started playing BioShock recently, right?
A little bit.
And Ivan, you played BioShock.
I have.
There is at least one sequel coming out for BioShock.
I thought it was a prequel.
A prequel, sequel, whatever. There is another BioShock coming out this year.
There you go.
According to 2K's global president, there's going to be more sequels down the road, yet they're not going to cash in on it. He compared it to like Star Wars.
Oh, if you're not trying to cash in on it, Star Wars
Yeah.
is not the example to use. Just throwing that out there.
He said, look at Star Wars. It's a fight between good and evil, just like BioShock. If we spin it the right way and get the right twist of innovation, we can make 6 parts of it, just as Star Wars did.
If you put the right spin on good versus evil, just make Bible the video game. You can do a hell of a lot more than 6 parts with it, too.
If they're going to do that, they kind of need, I don't know, more than one named character. Star Wars did well. I mean, it had lots of memorable, likable characters in it. And BioShock has some guy whose name you don't know, and then the bad guy who dies at the end. So, yeah.
That means it's a wide open universe. You can introduce any character you want at that point.
There you go.
You could make a game where you play as a big daddy. You run around with your giant spiral twisty arm and
I think that was Redneck Rampage.
I have an idea for a prequel where the Nazis come and they take over Rapture and you have to defeat the Nazis.
Before they can release their zombie army on the world, right?
There it is.
There's the hook.
We just made a bestseller, dude, right there.
Before the atom turns the Nazi army into zombies.
We'll have to see how the next BioShock turns out. Ken Levine, who was the designer of the original one, is just a consultant on the next sequel, prequel, whatever number 2 is going to be called.
You said number 2. He's working on number 2.
So am I, come to think of it.
I'm actually sitting on the toilet
not
right
quite
now.
ready yet. I can give you a preview, though.
Get some screenshots, some trailers.
Oh!
I love how we go like right to the good point and then always have to take that extra step.
It's like Mythbusters. Once you prove the myth is false, that's cool, but then you just got to blow the up with as much as explosives as you can get.
Next topic.
We can just do mail and then we'll be done.
Can you make your ass say mailbag, Bob? Good enough.
Hey guys, forgive me if this was a topic of discussion. I've only recently stumbled upon your show. I was wondering what your thoughts were on Spider-Man Web of Shadows. I got it as a gift a couple of days ago, and I haven't actually cracked it open yet. I haven't really been satisfied with any of the previous Spider-Man games since Spider-Man 2. Just want to know if it's really worth breaking open and playing it. Thanks for the show. I love it. It really helps me get through work. Keep it up.
Chad would know. I saw him playing.
I will say that even though my shoulder is broken, I can actually still hold a Xbox 360 controller. And since I have nothing else to do, because my shoulder is broken, I rented Web of Shadows and started playing it. So, Ivan, you're going to have to help me out here, because I never played Spider-Man 3. And you did, right?
Briefly.
Spider-Man 3 was supposed to be the one that was rated very poorly, correct?
Yeah.
So in Web of Shadows, the overall storyline has to do with Venom and symbiotes. And I think the big thing they added, and correct me if I'm wrong, is in Spider-Man 3, you couldn't level Spider-Man, could you? Could you upgrade his abilities?
Yeah. Oh, upgrade, I don't know, but you unlocked new ones.
Okay, you unlocked ones. This one actually has a leveling system where you have like a skill trees, although it's not really that deep of a skill tree upgrading system, but you can upgrade your attacks to make them better.
The problem with 3 was that it was essentially Spider-Man 2 with the storyline of Spider-Man 3. They didn't really change a whole lot. That's why I didn't play it too much. It sounds similar. So you start off with just a couple web attacks, and then you can learn new combos. And
Let me go on. There are some other differences, though. They have alignment in the game now.
Oh, alignment. I thought you said alignment. Like, the pain train's going to come by and help out Spider-Man when he gets in trouble.
No. Alignment. You get back the black costume, the symbiote. You can either use your red costume, normal, or you can turn on the symbiote mode.
And go jazz dancing in a piano bar, right?
No, jazz dancing.
That movie still just angers me.
It should. That sting should never go away.
So in the game, when you do things, you can either do them as the good Spider-Man or the bad Spider-Man. And like the bad Spider-Man, if you pick up a car with a person in it and throw it, and it hits something and blows up, for that, you kind of get bad points, swaying you to the dark side. While on the other hand, when you do good things like save citizens, you get good points. And all that really does is determine what ending you get for the game.
so you get the good ending or the bad ending.
I'm about halfway through it. So far, it just seems repetitive, like I'm doing the same things over and over again.
And that's kind of how Spider-Man 3 was, is they tried to take it more Grand Theft Auto, make it an open sandbox type game where you could do the main missions, or you could, run around and beat up the lesser thugs.
That's really the problem with this one. It gets repetitive. And I would say it's a decent game, and I think he got it as a gift. I would say if you got it as a gift, play it. I think it's a decent one to play if you didn't pay money for it. People are thinking about getting it. Unless you're a real hardcore Spider-Man fan, wait till it drops to like 20 or 30.
So here's a question. Is Bruce Campbell do any voice work in it?
Nope. And actually, the guy they got doing Spider-Man's voice is horrendous. You'll want to mute him.
They probably got the guy that did the 70s TV show.
No, Hammond? No.
Holy crap, how did you know that?
He's a fine actor. He was in the third Crocodile Dundee film.
The third one?
Well, then I'm surprised I don't know of him. Because, I watch that every night.
I have it on Laserdisc.
I'm a wealth of useless knowledge.
Next topic.
From Mike. He sent in a story about Mario being dethroned by Wii Sports as the top-selling game. And his question was, do you think this should count since Wii Sports is included with the console except in Japan and Korea? First off, I will say one thing. I'm sure Wii Sports did outsell most of the other games. However, the article he references is from Yahoo, which references VG charts. Don't reference VG charts in the future. They're not reliable at all. Just throwing that out there. But Wii Sports being sold with every Wii console that has existed for the America, I'm sure it has outsold Super Mario Brothers for the original Nintendo.
You got to be careful there too, because back in the day, Super Mario Brothers was bundled with the NES too.
Okay, that brings up a good point. Is it the same thing then?
I say nay.
Yeah, most people would probably say no.
If they released the Wii from day one with no games included and had Wii Sports as a separate purchase, I'm sure Wii Sports would still have done very well because lots of people like it. But I think the biggest reason it's so popular is because it comes with the system, and there's all those non-core gamers, as they call them, who, you know, buy a Wii because they find out, oh, Wii Sports is lots of fun. We can play that with the kids. How many of those people would have actually bought Wii Sports separately?
Yeah, where's Combat on that chart, huh? That game sucked, but it came with every single Atari system, so everybody had it.
Right.
Would you have paid money for Combat? Would you have gone to the drugstore into the $5.99 bin and paid your $5.99 for Combat?
I would
Probably not.
Although, really, isn't Wii Sports just a tech demo?
Really kind of is. I mean, if you've ever played Wii Sports, there's really only a couple of them that are any good. Like, boxing is crap. It's not even fun. The bowling is probably one of the number one games on there. It's the most fun to play. I mean, the baseball game isn't even a baseball game. It's just hitting.
And tennis is, you don't even control the guys. It controls them. You just swing the tennis racket.
I don't know. Most people would probably say no. They wouldn't view that as a true sales mark. But the fact that they've sold over 40 million Wii units itself is pretty impressive.
Go Team Wii. Go Team Wii.
And that was Video Game Show episode 124 for Sunday, January 11th, 2009. Shorter because of broken shoulders and whatnot. Hopefully 2 or 3 more weeks, and then we'll be back on track.
Actually, is there any more whatnot, or is it just the broken shoulder?
Actually, there might be more.
We'll find out in the super extra bonus round when he has to spin the wheel.
If I can spin the wheel, the tendons might be messed up, but I don't know yet. I won't know until I can actually move my shoulder. Probably not, but...
Did you hear a crunch when you fell? Or did it just hurt like a mofo?
Actually, it didn't even hurt at all. I just couldn't raise my arm. It sucks. Don't break your shoulder. Kids, don't break your shoulder.
That's sound advice every kid can use.
It just sucks. You can't move your arm. You're not supposed to. Because if you do, you might screw up how the bones, that messes up, then they gotta open your arm up and put a rod in your arm, and that just isn't good. No, see, you don't want that. You know what? Let's get the Shattered Dream pies and ham sandwiches. Any to give out there in the world?
Yeah, I got a Shattered Dream pie to the Giants. And I do have a ham sandwich to give to whoever invented grapples.
What the hell's a grapple?
It's like a grape apple.
Ooh, those are good.
They're yeah.
They're expensive as hell, though.
I have a Shattered Dream pie. I was in Best Buy today buying something, and the guy behind me bought 2 HDMI cables. The first one rang up for like $40. I think it was only like 2 feet. And the second one rang up for like 120.
Oh,
and I was looking at going, mono price.
Oh.
He didn't even like blink an eye when she said 180.
Yeah. The thing is you know damn well he went in there because he knew he needed a cable, and he talked to some Best Buy jackhole, and he was like, here you go. This is the best HDMI cable.
Platanium.
Platanium.
It's a new metal we've invented. And by the way, that was said on purpose because I was going to go with platinum, but then I was like, platanium sounds like it would be worth more than platinum.
I got a new cable box a couple months ago, and I wanted an HDMI cable, so I went to Micro Center. I got a 6-foot HDMI cable, and it was like $15.
That's how much they should cost.
If you order from Mono Price, which is the place to order from, that's about what they run, is $15.
I got a ham sandwich to Josh from C Plus Gamers, who goes under the darkness on the forums. I see on his Skype title it says, Diablo 2 is a game I haven't played until today, which is sometime this past week. So ham sandwich to finally playing it, but Shattered Dream Pie, what the hell you been waiting for?
He's been in the dark.
Yes. Darkness.
Okay, don't forget about the Gamercast Network Gaming Nights. This week on both the Xbox 360 and PC, they're playing Left 4 Dead on Friday night. Go to gamercastnetwork.com/forums for all the details. And as always, send your comments, questions, queries, concerns, or a roll call question to the mailbag at mailbag@videogameshow.org. Skype us at videogameshow or call us at 320-300-GAME. That is a standard long-distance call, and all normal fees apply. And that's a wrap. Good night.
Too loud, too quiet.
You're okay.
It's good.
Turn down the robot.
Too loud, too quiet, better.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
It didn't make any difference if I'm doing this or this.
You're a little muted there, but...
Okay, then I'll leave it like this. I was trying to talk with Tom to figure out, okay, is my mic... The little cord from the mic was no longer connected to the connector thing. And that's technical
Yes.
jargon.
That's, yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna have to slow down. I'm not following.